Today we're going to look at what's called Multivista. Multivista is a independent company that their role is in the construction process to come out and take pictures during each of the phases of construction. So the company would show up before dirt was moved, during the process of moving the dirt, through foundation, framing, all the way through interior finishes. So today what we're going to do is take a look at that. And what you see here on Talon is called the Multivista Guide. If you open that up, it'll tell you, some step-by-step procedures for it. Before we get into that, though, I kind of want to give you a sneak peek of what we're going to be looking at. So if I open up the Kirkwood plans here for the Washington Regional Center, and I go up to the second floor, and I pick room 222, the women's restroom. And I can see that here in the plan as obviously two dimensions, looking down in what we call plan view. I could certainly go to page A403, number 7 here, and I could see a interior elevation, and that would sure help me, paint a little bit better picture of what's going on here. But what Multivista does really well, if I go to this page here, is it shows again the progression of the construction processes. So believe it or not, we are looking at room 222, and just to orientate you a bit, you see this black cast iron pipe here. That's our drain, waste, and vent system. Then you see these metal things sitting on the floor. They look like brackets with bolts on them. Those actually hold up 4 different toilets for the women's room. And so if I go back to the floor plan, I'm looking at are these 4 stalls right here of the toilets. So the toilets eventually will sit right up here against that wall. So the point of today is to let you see how the Multivista program works, but also then to encourage you to try to visualize what you see in 2 dimensions on, in this case, PDF. Try to visualize what that looks like in real life. The plumbing is started. We have our drain, waste, and vent, like I said, in the black piping here. We have our supply piping, so bringing water to the fixtures. We see that with the copper pipe in that location. I'll zoom in a little bit. Copper pipe here. And then as you flush the toilets, it all goes down into this black cast iron pipe. Now, if you remember on the plan, neighboring us is the men's room on the other side. So this is pretty common in commercial and residential projects. Where possible, what we want to do is we want to group the bathrooms together so they can share the same piping. So if I look at the progression, what I'm going to do here is click on this arrow over here to the right. And if you look up here at the top, and it's maybe off your screen a little bit, there's a button called Date. So it's going to save the position and just scroll through the dates. So depending upon when Multivista was out taking pictures, you're going to see every single one of those activities. So if I go to the next picture, not a whole lot changed. Still looks primarily the same. Kind of toggle back. Maybe a little bit more insulation. You see how there's not much in the wall cavity right there. But if I go to the next slide, this was December 19th of 2013. If I go to the next slide, this is December 30th. So 11 days later, you can see they put more insulation in. But as far as piping and whatnot, pretty much stayed the same. Let's go to January 13th. So 2 weeks later, you can see we have some drywall up. You can also see that we got some masonry units being put in right here, the block down here underneath around the toilets. Again, that was January 13th, so 2 weeks later. Go to January 29th, so 16 days later. You can see they finished that entire block wall. They're starting to finish the drywall as well, getting that ready for paint. Click again, we go to February 11th, so a couple more weeks, not a whole lot difference, to be honest. February 26th. Again, not much happened. I can start to see some more work up here on top. Looks like the electrician has been in. Go to March 13th. Again, not a whole lot of difference, but now we get to March 28th. Now I can see some interior finishes happening. So the drywall has been sanded and painted. You can see the first coat on there. And then there's some tile work that's going on. So we got some backer material here. Actually, that's a tile there. They changed direction, so we get some horizontal tile here, some vertical here, assuming that they're going to continue up with some sort of tile here. But now you can definitely see a little bit better You know, this is going to be the flush valves for the toilets. Probably one of the sensors. If we go to that was March 28th, so end of March. Now we're looking at April 11th, so 2 weeks later. You can see they got the tile finished all the way up. They got the lights, the down lights there put in. Looks like the ceiling is all in place. Paint looks pretty good. They got some base trim in. Tile for the floor is done. And then we look at April 24th. They've got the toilet set. The lids for the toilets are in these boxes here. And then look, May 8th, finally got some doors on it. And that's pretty much it. So May 8th is when they finished it. And so hopefully that was interesting for you. I'm going to pause things here, switch gears, and show you how to log in to Multivista. Okay, so we're back here. The next thing you're going to do is go to your web browser on Google Chrome or Internet Explorer, Firefox. And I want you to go up to the top and you're going to type in www.multivista.com. When you do that, that's going to take you to the page that looks just like this. And to get started with this, you need to log in. So we're going to go up here to Client Login. And we're going to use my login information. So you're going to put in my email address, so joe.greathouse@kirkwood.edu. And Multivista has been gracious enough to give us rights to the Washington Regional Center photographs, as you saw in the previous part of this video. First thing you're going to see is a window that looks like this. On the left, it's going to show you, there you go, on the left it's going to show you your shoot types. And they call these a site survey, exterior progression, pre-slab, interior progression, and MEP. So depending upon what phase you're looking at, site obviously is your dirt work. So it's before any of the actual building itself gets started. Some of the issues that they might have dealt with elevations of dirt, types of dirt, that type of thing would be in that location. The second one, the exterior progression, this one here, I'll just open that for you so you can see what I'm talking about. It brings up the floor plan, and if you select, we'll just pick this one here, number 20. See, there's a number there. If you hover your mouse, it's going to show you an outside picture like that. If you click on it, and over here on the right will show you all the pictures by date, which I think is really, really cool. If we go all the way down to the bottom, July 26th of 2013, I select that picture. It's going to make that a little bit bigger here for you. Obviously here we're putting in some foundation walls. See, they have a trench dug right there. Got the formwork right there, getting started. And now if I arrow through, again, I'm going to go up here to the top and I'm going to go by date. See that? Location, that would just kind of bounce me around the site. But if I want to go in the same location and I want to see the progress pictures from that same spot of how construction unfolded, I want to click on the date. We'll go to location a little bit later. But if I go down here to the bottom, then you see the sequence of pictures. Got the first one shown here. If I click on the second one, same location or very similar location. Now we're starting up with the framing. The steel erection's going up. The formwork and the concrete pour for the foundation's already completed. And this here was August 16th. If I go 2 weeks later, August 30th, some more work underway. If I go to September 12th, most of the heavy steel is done. Now we're putting in some lighter gauge steel. Continuing that progress here at the end of September. Beginning of October, it looks like most of the framing again is complete. The skeleton of the building. Doing a little bit more detail framing. Again, a little bit more. You can see the lift up here along the soffit area. The upper part of that elevation. And then now we're going to put some sheathing on there, so it looks like they're attaching wood to the steel studs. And now they've got a coating on there, some sort of membrane, probably some sort of weather barrier is what they applied to that. And then now, once that weather barrier is on, we're going to start trimming out, getting prepared for the exterior siding. Go to December 30th, you'll notice that work slows down a little bit, obviously being cold outside. things don't quite progress quite as quickly. Mostly working inside. You can see the plastic on the windows. That means, typically that means they're doing drywall and painting on that level. And plus we got windows down here at the bottom. I don't really see any up here at the top. So it's helping to keep the building warm. Next page, same thing. And we're into February now, so exterior wise, yeah, not a lot going on. But again, it's middle of Iowa, or middle of winter in Iowa. End of February. Now we get into first part of March. Weather's getting a little bit better. So you can see now they're getting prepared to put in the put on the exterior siding. Which we'll learn about that here in a little bit. Arrow over again towards the end of March. Getting the insulation board, the underlayment on. Scaffolding is set, so we're getting ready now. And then look how quickly that went on. By the end of April, the stonework, and that looks like limestone to me. We can verify that in the plan and in the specifications. But that stonework is on. And then by the 1st of June here, June 11th, boy, it's really starting to look like a building now. They got the stonework on. They've got the flashing, the coping at the top of the wall put in place, even doing landscaping at that point. And that's one of the last pictures they took before the building actually was turned over. So that was by date. So that was this button up here selected. If I go to location, what changes is, if I come down here, now my date is the same. So the date is going to be July 26th, and that's going to be for every picture I click on down here. And if you look over here to the bottom right-hand corner, you can see that arrow number 20, that one is highlighted. So that's this picture here. If I click on this picture, you see this one down here? Watch what happens over here in this corner. I click on that, oops, click on that, and it bounced me around. Look, it took me over to number 1. And you can assume if I click on the next one, that's number 2. So now I'm on the same day, July 26th, and now I'm just bouncing around, looking at the whole area, picture by picture, on that same date, July 26th. So I'm getting a real sense of the site conditions out there, right? But again, that's by location. The date is locked, and now we're just moving around by location. So 2 ways again to see those pictures again, between the date and the location. You can also set up to do a slideshow if you like, and it would just run through the pictures every few seconds.